Jon Jones, and not just Jon Jones, a drunk Jon Jones walking out mid-interview because he was asked about fighting Tom Aspinall by the interviewer.
Jon Jones has never turned down an opponent here or been afraid to fight anybody.
So if, for instance, he doesn't fight this guy, who would you like to see him fight?
To fight Tom Aspinall from the UFC. Like, what does the UFC got to do?
Said something real wild on off the cuff. I'll see you guys later.
That's it.
Yeah,
right.
Thanks for the happy
Jon
beer.
Jones, the legend.
Yeah.
Jon, can you tell them? I would have been a little more professional if we did this 5 hours ago, but Jon said, can we do this after the fight?
I've never done an interview after a few drinks. I'm glad I did. That was smooth.
One question, one name. And the supposed greatest of all time GOAT walked away. So what really happened? And more importantly, was it nerves, ego, or fear? Let's break it all down. During a recent podcast appearance, Jon Jones was asked a seemingly simple and respectful question. What do you think about Tom Aspinall and a potential unification fight? Jones' reaction was anything but simple. Without hesitation, he looked directly into the camera, gave a quick chuckle and muttered, "See you later." Then he removed his headset, stood up and walked out. No explanation, no sarcasm. A chasm, just a mic. Drop. Literally. The podcast host sat there stunned like the rest of us. It was one of those moments where you're not sure if it was real, staged, or something in between. But it happened. And the internet erupted. Now, let's be honest. Jon Jones has built his career on dominance. Whether it was dismantling legends like Shogun Rua, Otto, Masita, and Daniel Cormier, or outclassing hungry contenders like Alexander Gustafsson and Glover Teixeira, Jones always found a way to win. But in the last few years, something's changed. After vacating the light heavyweight title and making a much-hyped move to heavyweight, fans expected an explosive comeback. What they got instead was delay after delay, injuries. And now this, a walkout over a question about a top contender, and that's where the narrative shifts. Tom Aspinall is not just another name on the UFC roster. The British heavyweight has become a rising force in the division. Fast, powerful, and intelligent in the octagon. Claiming the interim UFC heavyweight title, he's made it. Clary wants to unify it against Jon Jones. Unlike others who trash-talk their way into fights, Aspinall has been respectful but direct. He's called out Jon with class, saying, "I don't want to be disrespectful to Jon Jones, he's one of the greatest. But if I want to be the best, I need to fight the best." Psychological game. What does walking out really mean? Let's unpack this. When Jon walked off, what was he really saying? Was it, "I'm above this. I'm done answering the same question." Or I don't want that smoke. The truth might lie somewhere in the middle. Jon Jones has always prided himself on mental warfare. He beat fighters before they ever stepped into the cage. But Tom Aspinall represents something different. Fresh, confident, dangerous opponent with almost nothing to lose. Jones has beaten legends, but he's never faced someone like Aspinall, a hybrid heavyweight who fights like a middleweight. Young, explosive, respectful, and hungry. The timing couldn't be worse for Jones. Jones is currently sidelined with an injury, and the UFC heavyweight division is more competitive than ever. Sergey Pavlovich, Curtis Blades, Jailton Almeida. Of course, Tom Aspinall with the interim title already on Aspinall's shoulder. Fans are beginning to ask, why is the Lionel champ refusing to acknowledge the interim champ? And that's where the optics start to hurt Jon Jones. Walking off might feel like power, but to many fans it looks like avoidance. The MMA community did what it always does. Exploded. Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, and Instagram were flooded with opinions. Jon Jones ducked Reyes, ducked Ngannou, and now he's ducking Aspinall. Classic Jones. Manipulate the narrative. He's just trolling. Y'all fall for it every time? If he's the GOAT, why run from questions? The reactions tell the story. Even those defending Jones can't deny that this was a weird look for someone who claims to be the baddest man on the planet. Aspinall's response, calm. But cutting after the podcast went viral. Tom Aspinall did what he always does, kept it cool. He didn't insult Jones. He didn't rage. He simply said, "I understand if he doesn't want to talk about me. Sooner or later, if he's going to keep that belt, he's going to have to." That's a dagger. No insults needed. Just facts. The million-dollar question. If Jon Jones never fights Tom Aspinall, it will leave a permanent hole in his heavyweight legacy, especially if Aspinall continues to clean out the division. If Jon does return and faces him, the build-up to that fight will be monumental. But right now, The optics are bad. Real bad. You don't walk off a podcast if you're confident. You don't ignore the #1 contender if you're proud of your title. You don't silence the conversation unless there's something you don't want to face. Is it fear or strategy? Let's not forget, Jon Jones is a master tactician. He could be building drama, creating mystery, selling the fight, or ... He could be carefully avoiding a style matchup that doesn't favor him. Tom Aspinall's speed, footwork, and grappling might be the exact combination that puts the first real L on Jon's resume, and maybe, just maybe, Jon knows that. We don't know what Jon Jones is planning, but one thing is crystal clear: you can be the GOAT and still be afraid to lose it all. Walking away from a podcast won't erase Tom Aspinall. Dodging the question won't silence the fans. And avoiding the fight will only damage the legacy Jon spent over a decade building. So what's it going to be, Jon? Because one way or another, the MMA world is watching, and Tom Aspinall is waiting. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was Jon Jones scared, or just done with the noise? Smash that like button if you want to see Jones versus Aspinall happen, and subscribe. For more brutal honesty from Gloves Off MMA, where legends are tested, not protected.